Aloha mai kako. We're going to continue on with our telephone communication. And as we always do in my class, it's really all about preparation. Before you do anything, it's preparing. For example, for employment success, we did all the preparation so that you could attend the mock interview. And so that going forward, when you're going to interview for jobs, then you're prepared. And in customer service, we learned how to prepare by understanding who we are and how our interactions affect others. So today, I'm going to talk about preparing for a phone call. So the first thing you want to do is think about when you're going to schedule your phone call. Remember, you are in control of your readiness for making the call. Remember, I mentioned in the past, the person who is making the call, it's at their convenience, not the person who is receiving it. So be prepared. If you are making a call and it's in another time zone, make sure you're familiar with that. I have a picture on this slide, and I have that in my phone because I have children. One lives in Portland and then one lives in Japan. So I'm aware of what's the time zones before I call them. And then use your phone directories, and you can use the internet to verify the times. One thing is, and why I say that, is if you're not aware, in the phone book, they have time zones for the United States. And this is the current Hawaiian telephone. Note the time differences. It's really important because when I worked at the Marriott before, I had to remember that 4 o'clock in Hawaii time is 10 p.m. in New York time. So just be aware of the time difference. Locating the correct phone number. To save both time and money, make sure you have the correct phone number before you begin the call. So whether you've taken it down or you need to research it, write it down. Okay? How do you look for the correct phone numbers? Well, there's several different ways. And how many of you know the difference between the white pages and the yellow pages? So when we're looking at a phone book, this is the white pages. And here is the yellow pages. So what's the difference? Let's talk about that. The white pages provide an alphabetic listing of names and addresses. Personal. So how do you locate a residence? Information. When you're looking at the white pages, you may not be able to see it very well, but there's an alphabetic listing that it starts here at the top. So it was exciting when we were growing up. Every time the new phone book came up, we would always look for our name. So there's an alphabetic listing. And then the other thing that you can see in the picture on the screen or in here, they also have the addresses. So how do you locate an address, a residence, if you don't know what it is? Normally what we'll do is we'll call them and say, what's your address? But before, when we used to have to send out like party invitations or graduation announcements, all we would have to do is go look in the phone book if it was listed. Now there is no real directory for cell phones. You just have to know them. Okay? The yellow pages. That provides a directory of listing and ads. Before, this was how you would advertise. So this is the way of standing out. It's arranged alphabetically, and in this one, it's organized by the category or the subject heading. So for example, if you were looking for someone with construction, you would look up here for construction, and then if you wanted to look for Kauai builders, then it would be listed alphabetically. So that's one of the interesting things about the phone book that I would encourage you to take a look at it. There's more information in here than you realize. For example, what I like about it, they talk about the golf facilities, theaters, Hawaii bus, Hawaii, the airport, they have the time zones. So if you have a chance to take a few minutes to go ahead and don't just don't just throw it on the side and then wait to recycle it. Go ahead and take a look at it. As I was showing you in the past, it had the time zones. The other thing it does is it has the flood zones areas. So if you don't know if your area is in the flood zone, take a look in the phone book because it'll tell you if you're in a flood area. Okay? So take a look at it. That's what I encourage you. It's also by federal government. Anything of that. It also has state offices, that phone number, and they also have Hawaii County phone numbers. So I encourage you, if you have opportunity, take a look at the phone book. There's a lot of information. Okay. If you don't have the directory, what we always do is we use our cell phone. Here's my question. What happens when the internet is down? And that happened to us several weeks ago. Or what happens if you don't have your phone and you need to make a phone call, but you don't know their phone number? So when you're using the phone directories, make sure you know the name and the correct spelling of the business or the residence being called. Remember, residences listings are arranged alphabetically. And if a person's name represents the company name, when you're looking in the white pages, it's going to be under their last name. So I'll have like Denham and then attorney. So they also list businesses in the white pages. So it's personal and business. And then if it's, for example, the name is the Music Extravaganza, they won't list all the names under the word the. It's going to go on the first major word. So for example, the Music Extravaganza would be under Music Extravaganza the. Those are just helpful hints in case you didn't know. The other thing is, how many of you have personal address books? My husband and I, we still have our address book. And one of the reasons why we do that is because it's more convenient for us. We don't have to go and search it. I keep all the addresses in my cell phone, but what happens when you don't have that or your battery dies? So that's one thing. You have a cell phone contacts list. There's a picture here of an address book. It's alphabetical, and normally it's alphabetical by last names. And if you can see, this is not my address book. It's one I got off the internet. But they scratch out. They do scratch outs. So what I do when someone gives me a new address, for example, my daughter travels around, I'll leave all her addresses and I would just put on the right-hand side, what's the date? That way I know which one is the most current. And also, some businesses, they have what's called these rotary files. That way, they're index cards and you can just spin it around. Think about it. Take a look at your businesses and see how many of them still use rotary files. If anyone does it, they're probably going to be baby boomers like myself. So it's just interesting. Take a look at that. Using company directories. Normally, most businesses will have their own company directory, and whether it's electronically, like Hawaii Community College sends out an electronic file to everyone, and then if you need a hard copy to print, then it's up to you. I use both. I have the electronic copy that I access, but normally what I do is by my desk, above my phone, I have both of the directories up there. One of them is listed by department. So for example, if it was accounting, registration or admissions, that will be alphabetical. And then the employee's name will also then be alphabetical over there. And then it'll have either their full phone number, but most of the time it'll be just their extensions, which are 2 or 3 or 4 digit numbers. And then they'll have another one that's listed alphabetically, again with the employee's extension. So there's just 2 different options that you can use. I have mine right above my desk. I'm sorry, not above my desk, above my phone. All right? So using directories to make international calls, now you can dial international calls directly, but you're going to need to dial an international access code, a country code, a city code, and then the local number. So most phone directories will include that. So if you have a chance, again, look at the phone book, or you can go and look at the internet. All right, that's it for the section about preparing, and I will be talking about making the call later or scheduling the call. All right, mahalo.